You started a GLP-1 injection. At first, nothing really changes. Then, a few days later, something feels off. A burning sensation in your chest, a sour taste creeping up your throat. You lie down and it gets even worse. Now maybe you've had heartburn before, but this feels different, stronger, lasting longer, and not settling the same way it used to. And you start thinking, is this normal? Why is heartburn worse now? Should I stop the GLP-1? But here's the shift. This is not random, and it's not your body failing the treatment. This is a biological response to a change in how your digestive system works. I am Dr. Almeri, consultant weight loss surgeon and obesity specialist. In this video, I will show you why acid reflux can happen after starting GLP-1 and how to control it so you can stay on treatment safely and confidently. So what is actually happening here? Why does the reflux start after you begin GLP-1? First, let's be clear. Acid reflux on GLP-1 is not unusual. Many people notice it early, especially when the dose increases. And for some, it settles as the body adapts. But not always. And this is where people get misled. They assume it will pass, so they wait. But while they wait, the symptoms continue. Sometimes they get worse. And this matters because if it is not controlled early, this is often the point people stop the medication. Not because it's not working, but because it becomes too difficult to tolerate and they give up on something that was actually working. So let's break this down. This comes back to how GLP-1 works. One of its key actions is slowing down stomach emptying. So food stays in your stomach for longer. That's not a side effect, that's part of the drug mechanism. Now normally, everything moves down through the outlet of the stomach into the intestine. But on GLP-1, that emptying is slower. So when the outlet, which we know as the pylorus, does not move things through efficiently, pressure builds in your stomach and start to push upwards towards the esophagus. Food and acid from your stomach move back up into the esophagus, causing that kind of burning sensation, the sour taste in your throat, and sometimes you might even notice undigested food going up to your mouth and your throat. It is then where people start thinking, something is not right. Now, pressure alone does not explain everything. It also depends on your baseline anatomy, the strength of the valve that sits between your stomach and your esophagus. This valve is designed to keep everything moving in one direction, downwards. But in some people, it's already weak. And this is where the symptoms could get worse, because now, even a small rise in the pressure inside your stomach can trigger much stronger symptoms. Now, understanding the biology does not fix it. What matters next is knowing how to control the symptoms using your understanding of the biology. And that is exactly what we'll be looking at next. So now we understand what's driving this. It's pressure building inside a system that is emptying more slowly. And once that pressure rises, it pushes upwards. So the goal here is to reduce the conditions that will allow reflux to happen in the first place. And here are the 3 core adjustments we use to bring acid reflux under control. First, reduce meal size, because with GLP-1, your stomach is already holding into food for longer. So when you eat large meals, you're not just eating more, you're increasing pressure inside the stomach. And once that pressure rises, it's going to push back things up to the esophagus. So even if it feels like a normal portion, for your system, now it may be too much. So think smaller, less volume, less pressure. Second, timing of meals really matters. This is one of the most commonly missed factors. If you eat and then lie down soon afterwards, you remove the gravity from the system. And this is where people could get caught out, because instead of food staying down, it can move more easily from your stomach back into the esophagus. And if your stomach is still full, reflux becomes very likely. Now remember, on GLP-1, this matters even more because the stomach empties more slowly. So food is still sitting there hours after you have eaten, which means you need to create more time between your last meal and going to bed. Not 1 hour, at least 3 to 4 hours, so the system has time to move things forward. Third is identifying your acid reflux trigger foods. because not all foods behave the same way. Some increase acid, some relax the valve, some stay longer in the stomach, and all of these increase the chance of reflux. Now, the common food triggers for acid reflux are high-fat foods like fried meals and heavy sauces, chocolate, caffeine, especially coffee and strong tea, alcohol, spicy foods, and acidic foods like citrus and tomato. It doesn't mean you have to remove everything, but it does mean you need to experiment and to try to recognize what food types trigger symptoms for you. Now, once you identify the triggers, you can start adjusting without over-restricting. And this is where control starts to come back. Now, for many people, these adjustments are enough to make a real difference and bring things back under control, but not for everyone. And that is important, because if symptoms persist despite doing all of this right, that's not failure. That is not something you should just ignore. And that is where treatment adjustment and proper discussion with your doctor becomes essential. So in the next section, we will look at how your doctor can help bring things under control when these steps alone are not enough. Now, if reflux is not settling, this is where we adjust the GLP-1 dose. Not push through it, not ignore it, adjust it. And this is where many people get it wrong. They think, I just need to push through things. But that instinct is exactly what makes things worse. It keeps the system under pressure and the symptoms ongoing. Because the goal here is not to tolerate symptoms. The goal is to control them. So when reflux becomes persistent or difficult, we adjust the GLP-1 medications. Sometimes we slow things down, stay on the same dose for longer, and give the body time to adapt. Sometimes we step back, reduce the dose, let things settle, then build again more gradually. And in some cases, we pause treatment temporarily, reset the system, and restart in a more controlled way. Because more is not always better. Better controlled always wins. Now, while we are adjusting both diet and medication, the body needs time to adapt and bring that reflux back under control. And this is where we support the system, using medications not as long-term solution, but as a bridge. These medications may include anti-acid treatments like proton pump inhibitors, for example, lansoprazole or omeprazole, or H2 blockers like famotidine, and sometimes alginate-based medications like Gaviscon, usually just for a short period of time to reduce acid, protect the esophagus, and settle symptoms while everything else comes back into balance. Now, GLP-1 dose adjustments and the use of anti-acid medication should be discussed with your doctor and form part of a wider strategy to bring acid reflux under control. Now, this approach to managing acid reflux on GLP-1 medication is not just based on my own clinical experience in my weight loss clinic. Multiple research papers over the last few years have outlined structured ways to manage these symptoms. I have linked some of the key ones in the description below if you want to explore this in more depth. Now, if you find this helpful, the next step is to see the full picture, because reflux is just one part of a much bigger system. I have put together a complete video covering all GLP-1 side effects and how to manage each one properly. So you're not just reacting, you are staying in control. No hype, just biology. You can watch that next. I have linked it up here. And if you want more videos like this, where we break things down properly so we understand what's happening and know how to manage it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. I am Dr. Almeri. Thank you for being part of the conversation. I will see you in the next one.